That's my we do it like that in the way. Come my way, chase my shit. That's my way. Do it like that in the way. Be scared, afraid, just like that. Come my way. Yeah, I said do that, baby, all night long.
Hello everyone, please subscribe and like if you like the video, and let's start. In first, main character is like a servant and after 13 years of hard work, main character get abandoned and get killed. Then he reincarnated as the youngest son of one of the heirs of the founder of the Sunyang, the company which is number one in Korea, and main character is in the past and story is best and main character uses his brain and he's smart and it is fun to read and main character do lot of things and he earn lots of money, open his own company and use his future knowledge to build an empire which is bigger than his grandfather in future, not right now. Anyway, give it a try, you will love it, I guess. Story is good, it is fun to read and it is very interesting also. And main character is the fourth son of the demonic cult leader and he is the worthless villain who died by the hand of protagonist in one hit. And main character becomes strong as time goes and he is full of tricks. And story start as we see main character who reincarnated in his own written martial novel as a villain and main character start to prepare for the future battle and he trains get people in his side and he got his own army and he's rich and story is new also, so give it a try if you want and there is a lot to see in the story. Main character is the third prince in the game and he's also known as a crazy person. And in first we see main character who is a YouTuber and he got many subscribers and he's the first person to beat the game in the hardest difficulty level and after some time he opened his eyes as one of the worst game character which is going to die terribly and he's in the all out war against thousands of monsters but he beat them all. Main character is smart, badass and I love his expression and his story is best and it is still going on and it is fun to read. Story is good and somewhat interesting and some are fun to read but boring at some point and it goes fast and main character is overpowered somewhat badass I guess and he got his own army and there is a war and story start as we see main character who is a butler and emperor invade the land and kill all the people and after that main character incarnated as a duke and he got a dragon blessing so he's overpowered and he create his own dungeon, do main things and there's lot to see and in story there are ghosts, dragons, ghosts, monsters and some peoples. Story is good and somewhat interesting also if you continue reading it and it is somewhat fun to read and there is nothing like reverse harem up to where I read and main character is over badass and somewhat funny and story start as we see main character who die in battle and main character get reincarnated into the same life and main character got some divine power and she's loved by the spirit and for spoiler or whatever it is main character get god power inside her or you can say main character is the daughter of the god and it might be boring at some point. Story is good and funny and it is a old one and art might not be that good but it is fun to read and it is little confusing and boring at some point but it is somewhat interesting also and main character is overpowered badass and funny and story start as we see main character who is an ordinary student then he reincarnated and become the king of the small kingdom and he's in the war and he's somewhat stupid also and he can travel to different role and he become strong fast, so give it a try, it is one of the few decent manhwa. Story is best and art is somewhat good also and it is fun to read and it is very interesting and there are wars and there are demons, monsters, spirits and main characters who are power badass and he got future information and story start as we see main character who died due to excessive work and by playing games and main character reincarnated into the game as the trash character which is going to die soon and later he become famous and it is kingdom building Manhua where there is lot to see and it is funny and main character is a high class medicine. Story is good at first but might be boring at some point but later it is fun to read and it is very interesting also and main character got his own army and there is a war and main character is overpowered badass and he's famous and at first main character is a heavenly demon and he died then he reincarnated as the eldest son of the family, which is super rich and powerful, and main character is known as a fool at first, but later it changes after some time, and there is a lot to see. So give it a try. Art is good also, and at first I dropped from it when it was still new, but after reading it again and skipping some chapters, it was good and it got a lot of potential. Story is best but might be boring at some point, and it is fun to read and it is somewhat interesting also. And do not want to say it, but there are many beautiful girls and main character is smart. He uses modern weapons, and in the story there are demons, monsters, witch, and there is an all-out war against monsters and humans and demons, and there is a lot to see. And the story starts in a place like Middle Age of Europe, and main character is a prince and it is kingdom building Manhua. Main character is a civil engineer and he reincarnated in the novel as a rascal who is good for nothing, and story is best or you can see it is a masterpiece, and I like the expression of main character. He look like a crazy person and a main villain of the story, and he's smart and he's hungry for money, and he's overpowered badass and he got a cute and overpowered pet and some bodybuilder orcs and elves and a dragon, and it is fun to read and it is a kingdom building manhwa, and give it a try. You will love it and there's a lot to see and it is very interesting also.
君の虜になって